Eligible participants. To take part in this study, please contact Ed Bednarczyk at 844-3546. That's Ed Bednarczyk. Again, 844-3546. 578-1300 is the number to call for Gary Dee on 1300 WERE.
And we have one call at 578-1300. Thank you for waiting. You're on the air. Good evening.
Good evening, Gary.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm calling to say that there are any number of books. You can go to the library, get any number of books on psychiatry, psychology, and all you have to do is read the preface or the introduction, and you will find that they say that psychology and psychiatry are not recognized as a science. So tell me, why does the court recognize these things? You know that in certain court cases, people can have a psychiatrist or a psychologist come in and state a certain thing about a case, and on the other hand, there will be another one who has a totally different opinion. It's like a matter of opinion, and I don't see why these people are being promoted, and the more they use them, the more they will convince the public that it is a science, whereas it is not.
You're right. That's right. There's no basis to a lot of these accusations and what these psychologists are saying. They use statistics that are not true. And we can't do anything because the public has been brainwashed to believe these are professionals, and why would they lie? Why would they keep a case going where there isn't anything? There's money. That's what's doing it.
Actually, there is something you can do. If you would just go and get these books and use them as proof of the fact that it is not considered a science, and fight this matter. In many instances, you have to bring down the power that these people have gained, the recognition they have gained. It is not a science. That's all there is to it. Well, I thought I'd call you up and let you know this.
Very good. Appreciate it. Thank you for calling. Okay, it's 8:48, and our guests are Joe, Diane, Bob, Carol, and Leo. And Leo, now, do you belong to a group, or are you getting help, or why are you here this evening, sir?
Well, I'm with the group called the False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
The False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
And that's fairly new. It's only a few months old, but it started a little over a year ago with a few of the families around different parts of the United States getting together and getting a little publicity, and now we have, in just a few months, well over 300 families, I believe, 400 families in the United States and Canada, and some in other countries. I think Australia has one.
Do you have a number, or how can people reach you?
Yes, we have a number. That number is 1-800-568-8882.
Okay.
And just as an example, Bob gave me the name of another local family this evening, who I will be calling probably tomorrow, who has had the same situation as we have, and it's so surprising throughout the country and probably throughout the world. Almost all of the cases are exactly the same.
Really?
The pattern.
There are so many on the pattern, the courage to heal, the statements in there that you don't have to have a memory. If you've got a problem, you've been sexually abused. The counselors, and while my daughter claims that she came up with this on her own, she did belong to a couple of groups, all with that happened to all be incest survivors, even though it was not an incest survivor group, became associated with them. And she says that after 8 years of counseling, she came up with the idea and with the thought and the recollection of the repressed memories.
Well, boy, this is something, we read in the headlines all of the, Patty Davis, and she's written books about her mother on tranquilizers and this, that, and the other, Mommy Dearest. But yet there are parents such as you who've been falsely accused, which is a tough road to hoe. In fact, we might ask of the audience, those of you that have actually been abused by your parents, call in and explain to us how it happened and how you resolved it, or how you're getting along if you are with your parents, victims of physical or sexual or incest abuse. And we'll talk about that in the next few minutes that we have. But we'll be right back. Our number is 578-1300. It is 851 WERE.
The next time you think of renting something for that project or emergency around the house or your place of business, think of Sutton Hardware at 21st and St. Clair downtown. Sutton Hardware has a wide variety of tools and equipment at a very affordable daily or weekly rate. And they make it convenient to pick up and drop off your rental. Sutton Hardware opens weekdays at 7 a.m. and closes at 5:30. You can pick up on your way out of town and drop off before work the next day. Sutton Hardware rents drain cleaning equipment, sump pumps, generators, electric jackhammers, reciprocating saws, appliance dollies, pipe cutting and threading equipment, and much more. Before the summer onslaught of guests and relatives, couldn't your carpets use cleaning? Sutton Hardware has portable units and all the chemicals to give you just a perfect professional job. For your convenience, Sutton Hardware accepts MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and American Express, as well as their own commercial charge accounts. They've been serving downtown Cleveland for over 45 years with an extensive inventory in plumbing, electrical, power tools, paints, and more. Sutton Hardware, 21st and St. Clair, Cleveland's downtown hardware store.
Something stirring, feel the breeze, or a taste that's amazing. Just have Bacardi Freezer, a touch of sparkle, a splash of Bacardi rum, natural fruit juices, freezer is the one. Bacardi Freezer, just have Bacardi Freezer, Bacardi Freezer, just have Bacardi Freezer. 35.1% alcohol by volume, Bacardi imports Miami, Florida.
Harry, I think it's time for a new mattress.
What do you mean?
Right now at Sears, all Spring Air Dreamer mattresses are on sale. Prices start as low as $68 per twin-size piece. Or get a special purchase Sealy Jumbo Thick Supreme mattress starting at just $98.99 per twin-size piece. Hurry, offer ends June 6th. And with these prices, you won't want to wait till the last minute. At Sears Home Life Furniture and most Sears stores.
You can count on Sears, Roebuck and Company.
Tune in to WERE 1300 every Saturday morning from 9:30 to 10:30 for the K-Bore House and Home Show. Brought to you by the Leader Mortgage Company. On WERE, it's 8:53 at 578-1300. Good evening and welcome. Yes, caller, hello.
Yes, hello?
Thank you for calling.
Sure. You had asked if, for anybody who has been physically or sexually abused.
Yes.
And both happened to me. And I'd just like to say, basically, I believe that you can't get hooked or caught up in the blaming of the parents. I think that's part of the recovery, but I think that if you can take responsibility for who you are and basically, seek out help, whether it's support groups or maybe psychotherapy, and basically learn coping mechanisms to deal with abuse. Because I'll tell you, I think the sexual abuse, it invades every inch of your soul. I mean, I guess people who have not experienced it probably have no clue as to how damaging it is. It strips you of everything. It strips you of your ability to hold your head high. It's just so devastating. It's unbelievable what it can do to a small child and the adult, that child grows up into.
I think that we can relate because I would compare it to being falsely accused of such a heinous crime. You are never the same. You're afraid to be around children. You don't trust anyone anymore. You feel like you're dirty and you're not dirty, and you don't understand why it's happening. But you seem very, very mature. You aren't blaming.
No, you're right.
For most of these cases, we find, particularly the older adults, they want to put blame completely on daddy, on mom, because she allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
And yet, in many of these cases, nothing ever happened. And so you wonder, why is it they're so quick to blame?
Sure. And you know what I think? I think it's the blaming mechanism. Truly, you do experience so much anger and so much, because, someone has invaded someone who was supposed to be in a role of caring and loving for you has, betrayed you.
Did you always remember this abuse, or?
I didn't, I was in therapy for other reasons, and then this came up, the sexual abuse came up. I always knew I was physically abused, But then the sexual stuff came up, and it was perpetrated by my father. And I found out that he also did it to my sister, and my other sister I'm not sure about. And, but basically, you know, I don't want my father in my life, but you know what? I don't blame him. I hold him responsible for what he did.
Well, just to comment, you mentioned physical abuse, and through your therapist, you then became aware of repressed memories on
That's right.
sexual abuse.
That's right.
That's exactly what we're talking about, young
Okay,
lady.
you know what she did? It wasn't like she came out and said, oh, you know, I won't say my name, but so-and-so, you know, this is what happened to you. It's like the therapist, you know, doesn't overwhelm your unconscious.
That is exactly the way it works, young
Right.
lady. It'll take a period of time
That's
before you
right.
finally believe that you were incested
Right.
by your father, by an uncle or something. Now, if you recall this from the time it happened, okay, you were physically abused, and you just delayed saying anything about it.
Sure.
But if you wait until you're 25, 35, 40, and then all of a sudden someone has assisted you in finding out that you had been abused,
Right.
and that's hogwash.
Oh, well, you know what, though, but I'll tell you something. See, I think that when you do, all right, you have symptoms, though, as you're growing up, and you don't understand. For example, with me, I had two of the eating disorders, bulimia and anorexia. And see, it's funny, through those eating disorders, think about it. Your mouth is, and your control over food is basically like the very primary way that you have control over what you put into your body. No one can force you to eat. So basically, I think that was what I resorted to. That's how I could control myself, through the food that I digest. You know what I mean? Through my intake, through my food intake. And
But that also is a condition for a lot of other things that are nothing even remotely.
Now, caller, do you remember your father sexually abusing you?
yes, and you know what, you guys? I think it's important. There's different, I think, you know, just defining sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people may say that it's only with penetration. Other people may say that it's with like fondling, touching, caressing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and some are convinced that even tickling. Now, that's the problem. Who is convincing us that all this is sex abuse? Because, you know, it's a shame that grandfathers are being accused of something that is so innocent.
Now,
That's right. But you know what?
did your father penetrate you?
No, he didn't. He did my sister, but not me. He did, just more or less very, like, stimulating us by showing us Playboys, you know, the magazines at a very young age. He used to show us his Playboys when we were about 6 or 7. He used to, a lot of times these men will turn, like, their own gratification into games with children.
Mm-hmm.
And, for example, you know, he used to play this game. He used to say it was like the cement truck game. And he used to roll on top of my sisters and I, back and forth. And we were just very skinny little, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you guys know that is definitely not healthy behavior. I mean, I think there's a difference between playing and meeting one's own needs. And you're great. I do agree with you, though. This doesn't happen in all families.
Did you have brothers?
What's that?
Did you have any brothers?
Yes, I had one brother.
Did he do the cement thing with his brothers?
Okay, well, there's a 10-year difference between myself and my brother. I'm the oldest. And so my brother was not alive at the time that he was, you know, engaged in this behavior with us.
Can you hold on, caller?
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
On WERE Cleveland.
Typical case.
This is WERE Cleveland, a Metroplex communications station.
2 state abortion laws overturned. With Mutual News, I'm Ann Bozell. California and Ohio both had laws restricting abortion struck down today. The California measure required minors to get permission from a parent or judge for an abortion. And the Ohio law required a 24-hour wait after women were given counseling on abortion alternatives. Paul Schiffer of the Cleveland Right to Life group says it's disconcerting that the judges relied on state laws in each case.
We're looking at a much more complicated scene across the country. where maybe the ACLU and Planned Parenthood and people behind them, where we will not be able to have one clean sweep at Roe versus Wade falls.
Roe versus Wade was the Supreme Court decision legalizing abortion nationwide. President Bush heads to Brazil next week for a huge multi-nation Earth Summit. Today, environmentalists challenged him to sign treaties which will protect the Earth rather than the interests of big business. Cheers star actor Woody Harrelson was part of that group.
The problem right now is that the common folk feel that the United States government no longer represents their will, because in fact it represents the will of big business interests.
A 7-year-old girl urged the president to, in her words, have the courage to stop global warming. Meanwhile, the government says businesses have cut back on toxic dumping in the U.S. The Environmental Protection Agency says 11% fewer toxic chemicals were released into the air, ground, and water last year. Verdict in the Fatal Attraction trial, and more news in a moment.
Harry, I think it's time for a new mattress.
What do you mean?
Right now at Sears, all Spring Air Dreamer mattresses are on sale. Prices start as low as $68 per twin-size piece. Or get a special purchase Sealy Jumbo Thick Supreme mattress starting at just $98.99 per twin-size piece. Hurry, offer ends June 6th. And with these prices, you won't want to wait till the last minute. At Sears Home Life Furniture and most Sears stores.
You can count on me. Sears, Roebuck and Company.
Every time I hit a bump, my car tells me I gotta get new shocks.
For shocks, there's one place you can count on 7 days a week, Sears. And now through May 27th, all Sears shocks are on sale. Save 10 to 20%.
Sears guarantees my new shocks coast to coast, anywhere I drive.
Ask a Sears suspension specialist for details and save up to 20% on new shocks. You can count on me.
Hey, who's gonna back you better than Sears?
A jury in White Plains, New York, has found Carolyn Warmus guilty of second-degree murder in the death of her former lover's wife. Mutual's Carol Zimmer reports the case got national attention because of its similarity to the popular movie Fatal Attraction.
The way Carolyn Warmus's former lover Paul Solomon told the story, Warmus had arrived late for a date with him. After their tryst, in which Warmus and Solomon had sex in the back of his car, Solomon went home to find his wife Betty Jean dead. She had been shot 9 times, and after deliberating 7 days, the jury found Carolyn Warmus guilty of the murder.
President Bush is defending his policy of turning back Haitian refugees trying to get to the U.S. He told a group in Atlanta most of the Haitians are seeking economic, not political asylum. On Wall Street, the Dow closed up 6.5 points. This is Mutual News.
A kiss.
Picture a pile of dirty clothes, 10 feet high and 15 feet across. Half a ton of sweaty socks, grass-stained jeans, and grubby t-shirts. That's how much laundry you'll be washing this summer. Now picture it all clean, all the way clean with Whisk. Whisk laundry detergent actually breaks down the adhesive bonds that lock in dirt and stains. To clean a summer full of discs, you'd better stock up on Whisk, Whisk, Whisk.
Friends, this is James Whitmore reminding you that in a couple of weeks it'll be summer, and you know what that means. Those ugly brown patches start appearing in the middle of your lawn, which means it's time for a hot weather pickup with Miracle Grow Lawn Food. Just pour some Miracle Grow Lawn Food into your no-clock feeder and feed your hot, tired lawn. You'll see new green everywhere, even those ugly brown areas. Water it regularly, feed it with Miracle Grow Lawn Food, and you'll keep your lawn looking green and lush all summer long.
Add 2 more states to the list of those, which will include Texas billionaire Ross Perot on their November ballot. Texas and Florida gave the okay today. Perot's on the ballot in 6 other states as well. Longtime Florida Democrat Congressman Dante Fascell says he will not seek another term. The 75-year-old Fascell is chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He says after 19 terms in Congress, it's time to give someone else a chance. Ann Bozell, Mutual News.
Celebrating their 30th anniversary, Heights Auto Clinic has consistently been the place to take your car for the best, most reliable service at the lowest prices. Heights Auto Clinic dares you to compare their prices for all your mechanical and bodywork needs. Heights will meet or beat any price. From tune-ups to touch-ups, we invite you to try Heights Auto Clinic, especially now when their 30th anniversary prices can really save you money. For 30 years, Heights Auto Clinic at the corner of Cedar and Lee Roads has earned a reputation for quality and guaranteed service by certified certified mechanics and trained technicians. They provide special discounts for seniors and complete estimates for your insurance needs. Low prices, quality service, convenience, and even 24-hour instant towing service. Heights Auto Clinic has been the place to take your car for 30 years. Stop by Heights Auto Clinic today at Cedar and Lee Roads in Cleveland Heights or call 321-7300.
Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6 with an idea for the 90s. It's kind of a behavior modification program for anyone who wants to uncomplicate their life. Here's how it works. Come spend the night at Motel 6 and discover how to survive comfortably with only the bare essentials. After all, material things are just a burden we place upon ourselves, creating an endless pursuit to make more so we can get more. In a Motel 6, you won't find any material things around to burden you. No, you get just what you need. A clean, comfortable room where you can relax, take a hot shower, and put things in perspective. And unlike those trendy Zen stress relief clinics, a night at Motel 6 doesn't mean taking a second mortgage on the house. No, all this reality will cost you around 25 bucks. More in some places, less in others, but always the lowest prices of any national chain. So get out of the fast lane and come spend the night with us. I'm Swami Tommy for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Again, WERE Ventures, where no radio station has gone before. I'm Joel Rose, and on June 24th, for 6 straight hours, we'll devote our entire radio station to America's #1 problem, finding you a job. If you're unemployed, underemployed, entry-level, or professional, plan to attend the WERE Job Fair. It will be held at Swingo's at the Statler from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we'll be broadcasting live during that entire period. Employers, employment counselors, experts will all be there to help you. Plan on being there. There's no admission charge. You may go home with a new job.
The opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of WERE, its management, or sponsors.
Now, 1300 WERE presents Hot Talk with Gary Dee. To talk to Gary, call 578-1300. Now, with the talk that has to be heard to be believed, here's Gary Dee.
And it's 8 minutes now past the hour of 9 o'clock on a gorgeous Wednesday evening, and we have some serious guests in our program, live and in the studio tonight. Joe, Diane, Bob, and Carol, and Leo, and their children or foster children have falsely accused them of physical and or sexual abuse. And we have a lady on the line who fits, as you said, Leo and Bob, what exactly happened to your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, it certainly does. I would like to suggest to the young lady that she consider several things and consider not doing some things. First of all, I think that the best suggestion I can give you is to search for a reputable therapist, a psychologist or psychiatrist who is trained in the treatment of the original reason you went to therapy. It makes sense to get second and third opinions. It makes sense if it's a medical illness. It makes sense if it's a mental malady. And I would strongly suggest that you do that. Secondly, trust your own memory. Do not believe in some induced memory or some... do you do meditation or have you been hypnotized in any of these therapy sessions?
No, but you know what I wanted to tell you guys is that, see, this was not, so to say, induced. Basically, I believe my memories came up not only about the sexual abuse, but the physical abuse, because I was abusing drugs, and like a lot of people in this society, I think that alcohol is very much accepted, and in my generation, people, smoked pot, and, if you're using, and I'm not even talking about, like, coming home staggering drunk. If you're keeping yourself medicated by drugs, your mind is not going to be able to recall. So, you know what I mean? Right now...
Your previous use of these substances may very well be the...
they were masking.
They may very well be causing you to have these kinds of memories. In many of the cases that we know about, the 400 and so cases across the country, many of the accusers, or many of the people who are having memories of this kind of abuse, are coming up with them and not many of them have been substance abusers.
Right, but you know what? Because this pain is so deep that, you know, you...
Yes, it is a deep pain. I
It
understand
really
that.
is. And I don't know if you've been sexually abused or not, but believe me, it scars you.
The pain does not necessarily come from sexual abuse. The pain very well come from other sources and is a recurring pain. The other thing that I think you need to consider is that what are you trying to heal from? Are you trying to get well, or are you trying to proceed and go on from here?
Oh, most definitely. I'm going on with my life. In about 2 months, I will be graduating from Case Western Reserve with a master's degree. And most definitely, I'm proceeding.
Then I think the best procedure for you is to put this behind you and put it in its place, as same as you would if you were physically injured or had some sort of a handicap, and do not concentrate or dwell on this
No, and I totally believe in you. See, you know what? My sole reason for going to therapy was to work up to my own personal issues. When the sexual stuff came up, basically what I did was the therapist, who is very well trained, helped me to develop coping mechanisms. I dealt with the anger. I dealt with the pain. And you're right. My whole life is not going to center on sexual abuse and what happened to little old me.
Yes, because your therapist has sentenced you to lifelong therapy, and you must get out of that and stand on your own two feet.
I have really got a great therapist. I'm terminating therapy, I'd say maybe in about 5 months.
I would say that if a therapist doesn't help you within 3 months, it's time to get another one.
Oh, I don't know.
How long have you been in therapy?
Well, geez. Well, I've been in therapy now. This is maybe about for a year and a half. So
a year and a half, and all you've done has gotten worse. I think you must consider another therapist. You really must. This therapist is not.
But you know what? Wait, please hear me out. I've also experienced, though, in my work that I do, I've experienced a murder. I had to identify bodies, so I experienced some post-traumatic stress from that also, just as the soldiers in Vietnam. So that slowed down my recovery process.
Have you worked through any workbooks or?
Well, you know what? I'm getting my master's degree in social work. So basically, you know what I mean? I know the literature. I've read a lot of literature. I can say all the studies. I've read many studies.
Read a book by the name of Hidden Memories by Robert A. Baker. It's an excellent book. Pardon?
I bet you recommend that book?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. And it's by who?
Robert A. Baker. Professor Robert A. Baker. He was a professor at MIT.
Oh, okay.
And a professor at Stanford and head of the Department of Psychology at the University of Kentucky. Sure. There's another excellent book by Dr. Elizabeth Loftus from Seattle University called Witness for the Defense that explains memory and how it works and may very well help you. I strongly suggest that you suspend your therapy and search diligently for another therapist who might very well give you a little more guidance, a little more appropriate guidance. And there's nothing wrong at all, I wouldn't think, for any reasonable person faced with the sentence of lifelong therapy not attempting to get a second opinion.
Right.
And I think if that isn't a good suggestion, I don't know what is, but I would strongly suggest that you do.
No, but what I'm saying to you is I'm getting on with my life. I'm not sentenced with lifelong therapy.
But you're sentenced for another 5 or 6 months, and you don't need it.
But I've got other personal issues to deal with. I'm well off those. You know what, see, I think you have to remember, growing up and living in an abusive, dysfunctional family, it's a process. It happens to you over many years. And I don't think within a matter of 3 months you can expect, okay, bingo, I'm healed. It takes the mind time.
You could expect to make some progress and learn how to deal with it. And you could expect not to be induced to believe something that happened that didn't happen. Is there any cooperation of this from any of your brothers or sisters or family?
Yes, there is. One of my sisters definitely, she was, I don't want to compare abuse, but she was definitely abused, penetration.
How old was she?
She was about 5.
Was she hospitalized?
No.
Well, then there wasn't any penetration.
No, there wasn't any.
With penetration, believe me, she'd be hospitalized.
At age 5, she certainly would.
Guys, these offenders can use their fingers to digital penetration to press the young vagina. I mean, it happens. And you know what, you guys, I'm not saying that this happens to every.
No, but what does she say? Did she say she was penetrated? by an object, a finger, or a him. Many children are saying they were penetrated by a penis, and yet there is no evidence of that. So they are evidently being deceived.
Oftentimes there will be vaginal ripping, scars, and, how else are you going to have scars down there?
No, we found that's another thing that is not true, a myth. We found that many people have what they call lesions, scars, bumps on their vagina, and at one time we thought that was sex abuse. We are finding now that that's normal anatomy in girls. So many of things that we believed and have been programmed to believe are finding out not to be true.
You seem to be doing very well.
Totally disregarding
Oh, no, there is real abuse out there. That's what we want to get across. But we find that it's coming out of the woodwork, like under every rock there's a sex abuser. We are finding that this has become a money maker, and there's a pattern to it. So now
we call it a therapy virus. It's a virus going throughout the
and we don't have unethical therapists, you guys. I mean, there are therapists out there who,
There absolutely are, and we suggest you get one.
The ethical ones are coming out now and saying that this is hogwash, and they're not sitting back anymore.
I mean, I don't want to personalize this, but have you guys been sexually abused? I mean, do you know?
No. Absolutely not. No, we have not.
No, but I was a foster parent, and we had children that have been, and so it is, or at least
it's
we were
very
told.
interesting, you guys. It's very, I've worked, I am in social work now. I have worked with women who've been sexually abused. I mean, I know the signs.
It's a terrible, terrible
One thing I want to ask you. Sure. What have you hear the statistics, 1 in 4 women are sexually abused?
1 in 3 they're saying now.
Okay, well, do you know that is absolutely not true? There is no basis for that. This is statistical fraud exposed. There was a study done by the Health and Human Services. There are 3.9 per 1,000 that are sexually abused, and of those 3.9 girls per 1,000, not even one, excuse me, Health and Human Services, for the United States Health and Human Services, did a study of 1,000 women. 3.9 were sexually abused, and of the 3.9, only one was even was anything that resembled rape.
But see, what are your credentials?
We have lived through being falsely accused. We want to find out how this can happen, that people can falsely accuse another. How can it get out of hand like this? And in our research, we're finding it's a matter of years and years of being brainwashed. I used to believe that if you were accused, you must be guilty, because no one would accuse falsely. But when we were falsely accused, that sure threw that myth out the window.
Right, but I can, I don't want to say sympathize. I can empathize with you, being falsely accused. I really can. But believe it or not, there are people out there who, you guys, for whatever reasons, personality disorders, whatever kind of problems they have in getting their needs met, through healthy adult ways, they prey upon children. Children are vulnerable.
Yes.
It does happen out there.
We agree.
I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? I really do empathize.
There are children in the group that have also been abused. We have over 2,000 families that have been caught up in this mess.
I have worked with some of those children.
That have been, right.
I work with children, and what I have found out is very few of them forget it. We even had a foster daughter of our own. She came to us remembering every detail. She never forgot it. She always remembered it. She didn't remember it later. One of the things I would like to suggest to you is that you go and talk to your parents and talk to different people, and don't hide in a corner.
I already have. I've confronted.
Well, one of the things our daughter has just hidden, and she, for instance, has, said things about certain bedrooms or certain beds or certain incidences that if we could talk to her, we could show to her was absolutely impossible. Leo's daughter accused his father, who wasn't even alive at the time. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that happen that come back and that aren't necessarily true if you go really and discuss it and talk about it and really, find out the true facts. And we're not saying...
I don't know, but who would want to make up that? I mean...
That's what we thought. Who would?
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, who could make up such...
I hate to tell you, but we have found that the majority of all cases are false. I don't want to...
I can't agree with you.
No, I don't.
But listen, you know what? I need to get going, but I want to...
Unfortunately, it's true.
I understand your point, but there's just so many children out there who have been involved...
That's the point. We don't want to be wasting time on false cases. We want to zero in on the real case.
I appreciate your call.
Thank you, Gary.
And continued good health.
Okay, thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
Now, a message from President George Bush.
Today, America is making real progress putting an end to illegal drug use.
That's because everyone is getting involved. Parents, teachers, students, employers, and employees. People everywhere participating in community programs. Illegal drugs is everyone's responsibility. It'll take time, but America is turning off drugs because Americans are making it happen.
Brought to you by the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
Okay, group. We're here to discuss our feelings about fax paper. Now, John, why don't you start for us?
Well, come on. Frankly, it intimidates me. I can never seem to handle that slimy, curly paper.
Of course, John. Louise?
Well, my issue is print quality. Now, the new paper shredder is a nice outlet, but the anger still rages inside.
We're on your side, Louise. You know that.
Yes, but sometimes I think I'm actually...
Wonderful. Share, Louise. Ted.
Well, I'd like to share, but my office just bought a plain paper fax from Hewlett-Packard. Inkjet technology on plain paper produces crisp, clean output. I just don't have any complaints.
You're blocking, Ted.
Oh, really? I'm happy with my fax paper. I'm clear.
Confront the anger, Ted.
It's denial, Ted. I've seen it before. We see it all the time. Never like Ted anywhere.
The new plain paper fax from Hewlett-Packard, with a list price of $19.99 for the HP Fax 310 and $14.99 for the HP Fax 200. Call 1-800-222-HP-FAX for the dealer nearest you.
That's a wrap. Nice take, though.
Thanks. Hi, this is William Shatner. You know, over the years, I've tried more products than I can remember for relief of pain. If you've been through it, sore muscles, back pain, or even arthritis, I'd like to tell you about one product that really worked for me. Mentholatum Deep Heating. For hours of long-lasting, penetrating pain relief, you can't beat the heat. The warmth of Mentholatum Deep Heating soothes stiff, aching muscles. You just rub it in and get fast pain relief that lasts for hours. And Deep Heating's pleasant to use. It's not greasy. It's the most effective pain reliever I know. So why put up with the pain? For fast, penetrating pain relief that lasts for hours, hey, you can't beat the heat. Get Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub.
Mentholatum Deep Heating, available at Mark's, Bernie Schulman's, Jody's, 22 deep discount stores with no quantity limits. Just everyday low prices. Use only as directed.
This is James Whitmore. You'll see me on TV with all those champion gardeners listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. But did you know that every one of those champions, I mean every one, uses Miracle Grow plant food? Now, one of those champions, Dr. Nelson Hope, Tempe, Arizona, is with me now. Nelson, why Miracle Grow?
Well, when you put as much time and effort into gardening as I do, you can't afford to use anything but the best, which is Miracle Grow.
Folks, if all those world champion gardeners use Miracle Grow, shouldn't you?
Picture a pile of dirty clothes, 10 feet high and 15 feet across. Half a ton of sweaty socks, grass-stained jeans, and grubby t-shirts. That's how much laundry you'll be washing this summer. Now picture it all clean, all the way clean, with Whisk. Whisk laundry detergent actually breaks down the adhesive bonds that lock in dirt and stains. To clean a summer full of tisks, you'd better stock up on Whisk, Whisk, Whisk.
Well, as we know, there's a lot of stories about child abuse and going on from coast to coast. However, there, as our guest tonight attests to, there's a lot of accusations that are not true. Something interesting in the state of Ohio, state government has rendered nearly 600,000 Ohioans as suspected child abusers in the state of Ohio. And, you know, no one has ever told you this. Keeps a secret list of your name deep within the Department of Human Services. Most probably, they're with the Central Registry on Child Abuse and Neglect. The number of names on the list represents in the state of Ohio 1 in 12. So 1 in 12 of our listeners is on a list as a suspected child abuser. Now, how does your name get on that list? You'll never find out. But anonymous complaints to the Child Protective Service Agency, sometimes false accusations made during a neighborhood dispute or a domestic squabble, landed some people on that list.
That's right.
And who knows? Maybe I'm on the list. Maybe you're on the list. Well, our lines are open at 578-1300, and our guests who say they have been falsely accused by their children of physically or sexually abusing the children. Leo, let me ask you, why did you get involved with a group and, come on the air and be public about all of this? I mean,
well, Gary, the the thing is growing by leaps and bounds, and there are many young girls that are gaining repressed memories through the assistance of others, unfortunately. And I don't want the same thing to happen to other parents that has happened to me and to my wife and my family. It is very disruptive. We had a very loving family. 3 of them live out of town. We would get together frequently, and we just enjoyed each other's company. And within the last couple of years, it just started decreasing as far as the one person being involved, the accuser, of being involved, yet she wants to continue to be involved with the family, with the exception of her father. She wants nothing to do with me, but she wants to maintain her contact with her siblings and her mother. And I just can't visualize the number of people that are having to go through this because they have been falsely accused. And as Diane mentioned, as Carol mentioned, there are real cases out there. Why all the involvement with the false accusations? Get to the real ones.
Okay, Carol, your daughter, and how old was she when all this came out? 26?
No, 26.
26. And do you believe your daughter?
Did this happen? No, did not. In addition to accusing my husband, she said that I watched and gave her Valium afterwards. Now, can you imagine any mother in their right mind ever watching such horrible abuse?
No.
And I just want to add that, and repeat again what Leo said, we know there is true abuse out there, and it should be stopped, and anybody who does such a terrible thing should be punished. Most people do not forget that abuse and will remember it all their lives and need therapy and need help. What we're talking about here is repressed memories, and I'm very concerned about the caller as to if she's really, evaluating, is this real abuse? Is her sister's real abuse? If this has come to you through a therapist, I would be, very concerned about it, because I always believed that nobody would ever say such a thing. Who would say such a terrible thing? And I always believed in anybody who would ever tell me, I would automatically believe it. And it isn't until it happened to us. And I cannot tell you the devastation and the horrible. I wasn't even able to hardly work or do anything for 6 months when this first letter came. I just cried all day and all night. We had a wonderful family, just like Leo's. We did things together. We went on vacations. We loved and cherished our children. They're the most important things in our life. And you cannot imagine what it feels like to be falsely accused of something that never happened. And our poor daughter, she believes it, and she's suffering as if a person who really has been abused. And I feel for her. She doesn't have a family anymore. And fun things she did. She used to go on vacations with her cousin, and wonderful letters she sent to her aunt and her grandmother. Grandmother's 75. How many more years does she have? And she won't talk to any of us. She won't try to find out or corroborate any of these things or, investigate it. And it's horrible for her and us.
We'll take a break and be right back. Our lines are open, 578-1300. Call in.
Every time I hit a bump, my car tells me I gotta get new shocks. For shocks, there's one place you can count on 7 days a week, Sears. And now through May 27th, all Sears shocks are on sale. Save 10 to 20%. Sears guarantees my new shocks coast to coast, anywhere I drive. Ask a Sears suspension specialist for details and save up to 20% on new shocks. You can count on me. Hey, who's gonna pack you better than Sears? Right now, Sears has all regularly priced furniture on sale through Monday, May 25th. You'll find great values on all sofas, mattresses, bedrooms, dining rooms, and more. There are also special purchase items that are exceptional values, all with 0% finance charge, with no payment, no billing, and no interest until August. Ask your salesperson for this option. Now through Monday at Sears Home Life Furniture and most Sears stores. Baby furniture not included.
Count on me, Sears fucking company.
At 9:30 on WERE, the Gary Dee Show welcomes a new subscriber, Lou's Men's Shop at 117th and Buckeye, just south of Shaker Square. Lou's Men's Shop, been in business over 40 years, latest in styles for men's shoes, shirts, pants, suits, ties, accessories. The best values in town. And now there's even a better value, the Gary Dee Special. Now this is for real. You come to Lou's Men's Shop, 117th and Buckeye, tell them you want the Gary Dee Special that you heard about on WERE. And you buy one suit in any color, style, or size, get a second suit of equal value absolutely free. You heard right. The Gary Dee Special. Buy one suit, get a second absolutely free. Alterations are done right on the premises while you wait. No charge for normal alterations. For the latest in double-breasted or single-breasted suits up to size 60, you come to Lou's Men's Shop.